The ignition relay is responsible for providing lots of components in your car with a steady flow of electricity. It's usually located under the dashboard of the car or in the fuse box under the hood. This remote control switch makes the quick start possible by transferring electricity from the battery to the ignition components. But you will start to notice issues with multiple engine parts rather than just one if the relay performs below par. In this video, we will talk about 5 ignition relay symptoms, how to test it, and its average replacement cost. It's the Car Problems YouTube channel. Subscribe and let's get started. Ignition is unresponsive. The main function of the ignition relay is to supply power to all of your car's sensors and control modules so that the engine can run. There's a good chance that there's a problem with the ignition relay if you turn the key in the ignition lock and nothing happens on your dashboard and you know the car battery is charged. These problems must be resolved as quickly as feasible. You will have to travel without your car if you don't. Fluctuating ignition power. Your dashboard might have an ignition relay problem if it blinks like it's playing a game of table flipping. When corrosion develops inside the ignition relay, certain things happen. This may result in an excessively small connection area inside the relay, which will cause the ignition to turn on and off very quickly. Bad electronic smell. Electronic connections that aren't working properly produce heat. An ignition relay that has water, rust, or corrosion inside of it may develop a bad internal connection, which will produce a lot of heat. It is frequently visible that the plastic cover over the relay has melted. The next time you smell something burnt, especially if it's an electronic smell, you should definitely check the ignition relay. Engine stalls. Important engine components like the fuel pump and ignition coils are powered by the ignition relay. You can probably guess what will happen if your engine is unable to supply power to these parts, as it will soon die without them. Your car's ignition relay may be the cause of an engine shutdown while you're driving. Dead battery after night. All engine components should be cut off when the ignition key is turned off by the ignition relay. If not, leaving the car running all night will drain the battery. Even after you take the keys out of the ignition, an ignition relay failure may result in the ignition system being turned on all the time. This indicates that the battery will run out and the circuit won't open once the key is removed. As a result, the ignition relay may be to blame if the battery you are dealing with died even though it was operating flawlessly the day before. How to test. Depending on the type of relay, testing the ignition relay is frequently quite simple. If this switch in your car is one of the many that have 4 pins, you can use this guide. Take out the ignition relay from a fuse box. Connect 2 cables to car's battery terminals. Look for numbers on the back of the relay. You should find 30, 85, 86, and 87. Directly connect pins 30 and 85 to the car battery's 12-volt supply. Ground the 86 pin from the ground on the car battery and you should hear a clicking sound from the relay. Use a multimeter to see if the 87 pins have 12V+. Your ignition relay is broken if you don't. If so, the relay may still have a problem. However, in order to identify the issue, load test the relay. Testing a fuel pump or other device that draws a lot of power through pin 87 is the simplest way to load test the relay. Replacement cost. The typical cost to replace an ignition relay ranges from $15 to $100 depending on the type of vehicle and labor cost. Labor costs $5 to $50 and ignition relays range in price from $5 to $50. The ignition relay itself is often very inexpensive. Depending on whether you want to buy an OEM original or an aftermarket one, you can expect it to cost less than $10. Additionally, changing the ignition relay is frequently a fairly simple process. If you choose to have a mechanic do it instead, you should budget between $15 and $100 for the replacement. Hope the information was helpful for you. If so, please press the like button and subscribe to the channel.